So computer vision and graphics. So I already did this. I think one of the top things to do is just go to the NGC and type in computer vision. I guarantee your task is up here somewhere in one of these containers. A pre-trained model, anything like that. Check it out.
And we probably should make clear that all of the NGC software off of NGC is free of charge.
Oh yeah, everything's free. Everything's free. And you just need a developer account, which if you've ever gamed or ever done anything with GPU, you already have it on a laptop or a workstation, right? Because you got to get your drives. Or if you ever updated your drives, you have it. But that's just free too, right? It's just a way for us to connect to you to say, hey, we put in a new container. Check it out. It's not like they're asking you for money or anything like that. So first step, check it out, see if what you're doing is there, right? And then we get into more specialized stuff. So this is the Monai stuff, medical imaging. And I had mentioned it's backed by an advisory board of top researchers in the medical AI industry. And anything that comes through, right, has to be checked off. It's not like you can just develop and push, right? It has to be approved before it goes open source, which is really nice. Because you never know when some of the GitHubs you're pulling, if whoever owns it's made it open source and someone pushes something that's just awful and doesn't work, and there you go trying to write your dissertation on it. But Monai is not like that. And it's exploding, right? So like I had mentioned, the Monai monthly downloads, we launched this 2 years ago and we're up to 50,000 downloads, which is remarkable. We have a ton of people using it, community leaders, both in research, academic research, and industry research, right? So we have something called NVIDIA Inception. It's for startups. We have a bunch of Inception programs and teams and companies building billion-dollar companies off of Monai, right? So it's pretty remarkable. And then state of the art. So what you see in Monai, you won't get better than. The labeler, so the whole end-to-end, right? You're labeling, you're learning, your auto ML, so you know you get the best parameters, and your deployment, everything state of the art. And then, like I said, publishing to production, we're in the top 30, and this is a dated thing, so we're even further than that now. So first, we'll talk about Monai Label, an intelligent open source image labeling learning tool. So I am not a medical imaging person, just to caveat that again. So I don't know the names of all these cool things that everyone uses every day to label their images or view images or things like that. What I do know is we have a way to use Monai Label into pre-existing third-party labelers as well as open source labelers. And it's an intelligent way to do it, right? So we'll start from the beginning. We have multi-label support. You can label multiple things at one time, right? Save your time. We have I'm trying to think of the right way to say it, a smart labeler. So they figured out a way in Monai to do active adaptive labeling. So it's a way you go in, it has a model behind it, like UNet or DiUNet, and you start labeling your data set, right? And that model is already pre-trained, and we just transfer learn off your labels live, right? So you're labeling something that's never been labeled, say cat tumors in something, in its foot. I don't know. I have tons of cats and tons of dogs. I have a zoo. But whatever you want it to be, let's say it's cat tumors. You've never seen a cat tumor before, right? This never seen one. So you start labeling where the cat tumors are. Well, the model is gonna transfer learn on your labels after you do X amount of labels, and then it will auto label for you. And then you're in the loop and you can correct it if it's wrong, and it keeps learning from your corrections until it's flawless, right? Or as close to flawless as you can get. So that's cutting out months of time. So a bunch of the PIs I talked to at University of Florida, they spend a lot of their resources on hiring undergrads to label, right? And then undergrads they're just there for a paycheck. No offense to any undergrad here or anybody who was that undergrad trying to get a paycheck, me. You're just in and out, right? You got other things to do. You got classes, you got homework, you got social life, you got the game, you got everything. So it's really helping save not only time, but performance of the research too. Multi-GPU support, again, you can't go wrong with that. Was there a question? Scott?
Yeah, maybe I missed it, but I mean, you have an internal board that approves everything before it goes open source. Is there any higher level approval like FDA or full diagnostic.
So
use
I
in humans?
believe if a company wants to get something FDA regulated, Monai is part of that package to get regulated, but Monai itself is not FDA regulated. So it's like the
So
algorithm.
its derivative works from Monai
Correct.
that face regulation.
Correct. So we have
Thank
that brain stimulation project I had mentioned. We actually have that in FDA approval now for, I think we're doing a phase 3 trial with it. And Rapids is in the pipeline now, right? Now beforehand, they were using like MATLAB a couple of years ago. MATLAB goes in that, right? So we know MATLAB's not FDA approved because it's the algorithm they're actually interested in, not the suite. Cool. All right, and then of course, our NVIDIA healthcare stack is called Clara. Clara encompasses a ton of things like medical imaging, like Monai. Monai is up in that. Parabricks was genomic sequencing and things like that, which is open source and free as well. So you can do crazy amount of Parabricks work. We had a researcher, it's taken months to do research on COVID, started using Parabricks, GPU acceleration, cut it down to weeks to do the same thing, right? And when COVID's hot and COVID's a pandemic and we're all stuck in our house because we can't move because of COVID, the faster we can get that out, the faster we can go back to, I mean, air quotes, normal, right? If we ever get there.
Yeah, so the comment about Parabricks is free, that's new news. So we just announced that last month. Before that, it was one of like 3 software products that we license. I mean, almost all of our software is free, and now Parabricks is free of charge as well. So
Yep. You just pull it.
I know there was some folks here at IU that had been testing out Parabricks, but now it's free of charge.
Yeah, a huge push, right? So making everything, again, get you all using it. Maybe you create something incredible, and then we change society. Like that's the biggest thing. I think that's why I'm in research, is try to make the world a better place, right? So hopefully everyone is in on that, and I can live in this naive thought that we're all good people. But again, I digress. So then we get into Monai Core. So you saw the tutorial already on Monai Core, right? We just did that in the demo. That's where the base and chunk of everything is. That's researchy. That's your models, your downstream tasks, things like that. So we have AutoML, super important, right? So AutoML is going to go in and it's going to do, I guess it's usually NAS, but they use differential network architect search that just helps you pick the best parameters for everything, right? It's a way to streamline you so you don't have to guess and check, because Scott had mentioned, right? Like a lot of this isn't a recipe book of like, this is the best way to do it. You read a ton of papers, you do your due diligence, you have an idea of what you want to do versus something that's already been done. You kind of mimic it, and then you find out it's no good or it's okay. And you're like, I wonder if I can get better, right? AutoML does that for you using AI. And then we have self-supervised learning. That's all these large transformer-based models like UNetter and things like that. And then we have multi-instance learning for your pathology classification and a ton more, right? This isn't just all of it. So the whole key idea again in Monai Core, this is where all the research happens, though there is a ton of research in the labeling and deploy. But this is where you would come in and you'd be like, I have my data, I have this use case. You go ahead and customize what you need to customize. And then boom, you get a paper, you get a publication, you win a new grant, and we just keep the snowball effect rolling. All right, so NERF is our questions on Monai. All right, the question was, can Monai do 4D segmentation? We have that coming, I believe, in the next update, because we have researchers that I'm working with that are doing 3D video and trying to do that prediction, which is 4D. Right? And doing exactly what you're saying. So they're actually working on their model, and then Monai Development's working on their model. Of course, one's going to be transformer based. The other one's actually an LSTM based. It's not showing really good success. So it's coming. It's being worked on. But if you have a model or you have something that you're working on, please reach out. My colleague, Dr. Ju, would love to talk to you and things like that. She eats this stuff up, the medical imaging stuff. So let me know. We made it, y'all. That's me. You can contact me. But that's the end of the presentation and the demo.